Good evening, Fright fans, and welcome once again to our sanctuary of shadows and whispers, here on Friday Night Frights, where I, your hostess, Night Angel, shall unveil another tale shrouded in the mists of time. Tonight, beneath the watchful gaze of the moonlit sky, we traverse through the haunting wilderness of yesteryear, where our stage is set and nature speaks in murmurs and rustles. We gather in our spectral assembly to pay homage to a master of the macabre, a weaver of the supernatural tapestry, Monsieur Guy de Maupassant. Born under the gilded sun of France in the 19th century, de Maupassant, a laureate of the human psyche, delved often into the realms of the Gothic and uncanny, despite his own tumultuous wrestle with the specters of the mind. Amongst a sea of works, his stories brim with an understanding of the fears that beset mankind, embracing both the horror without and the terror within. Our tale this eve, dear friends, A Ghost, stands as a testament to his profound skill, an eerie narrative born of his fascination with the unseen. In this subtle yet chilling account, we tread the path of a lonesome huntsman whose encounter in the wilderness shall leave thee questioning the very fabric of reality. So I bid thee, draw close as we traverse the boundary that separates our world from the whispers of the past. Let us succumb to the embrace of the night and the story that awaits therein, remembering always that within the shadows, truth and illusion dance ever together. Here on it gets creepy. In the heart of the 19th century, a time where the woods were vast and deep, stretches of nature stood untouched, save for the lone huntsman's footprints pressing softly against the earth. Picture, if you will, the silhouette of our protagonist, a solitary figure against the twilight's embrace, venturing through thickets and thorns, his company the echoes of his own movements and the moon, his silent guardian. But hark, it is in the loneliness of the wilderness that our tale takes a turn most eerie, for it is said that solitude, though sought for peace, may oftentimes unveil the deepest creases of our world, where shadows dance and the lines of reality do blur. What specters may lurk in the quiet? What whispers might one hear when the wind is still and the trees stand as silent sentinels in the moon's pale light? Our story teeters on the edge of such questions, inviting us to ponder the very essence of our fears. It beckons us into the woods, guiding us through the hunter's eyes, his senses, and his heart, as the veil between the seen and unseen grows thin, and the forest's lullaby wanes into an uncanny silence. Prepare yourselves, brave souls, as we embark upon this nocturnal journey, where each step leads deeper into the enigmatic embrace of the unknown. For in these tales, it is not just the narrative that weaves the spell, but the questions that linger in the hush that follows. So, I beseech thee, lend me thine ears and summon thine courage, as we delve into a story that promises to chill your spine and cloud your sleep with dreams most fervent and vivid. Let the tale unfold as we step into the life of a man solitary and vigilant, and his tryst with something most unnatural. A venture I assure you that we shall not take lightly, for in this world I bring to you each night, remember, it gets most profoundly creepy. Pilgrims of the paranormal, entreat thine hearts to courage as we continue our sojourn through yon shadowed boskage, accompanying our solitary huntsman deeper into the embrace of the arcane forest. Pray, allow me to ferry thy senses into whispers among the trees, wherein the ordinary and unearthly commence their fateful intertwine. As our tale resumes, the forest, erstwhile a sanctuary of solitude and silence, begins to astir with change subtle and queer. Our huntsman, erst anchored in the realm of earthly concerns, now finds himself adrift on tides unseen, his bearings besieged by currents ethereal and whispers that skitter like phantoms through the foliage. The air, once crisp and invigorating, now bears a chill that grazes the soul, a frostiness not of the body, but of the spirit. It creeps this cold, insinuating itself into the marrow, a harbinger of trespasses from realms yonder. The woods themselves, those ancient sentinels, seem to recoil, their boughs trembling with an agitation not begot by the wind's hand. Our protagonist, stalwart in his isolation, perceives these perturbations, yet cloaks his senses in the comfort of reason. "'Tis but the breeze," he assures his quivering heart, "merely zephyrs frolicking amidst the timberland." Or mayhaps, he muses, the mind in its solitude conjures phantoms where none reside, painting specters upon the canvas of shadows and the lonesome rustle of leaves. Ah, but attend, dear listeners, for the forest speaks. Its voice, a susurrus scarce louder than a sigh, wends its way through the trees, a serpent weaving betwixt realms seen and unseen. The huntsman halts, his breath a mist in the gelid air, as that murmurous voice grazes his senses, a feather's touch upon the edge of audibility. Words form, or so it seems, in that rustling whisper, syllables wrought not in any mortal tongue, but understood, nonetheless, by the soul's quivering antechamber. The woods, a cathedral of verdant spires and shadowed aisles, become the huntsman's confessional. He stands, a penitent man, beneath the moon's pale judgment, his secrets laid bare to the night's inscrutable gaze. The whispers grow more insistent, a chorus of the damned or the divine, their cadence a weaving of temptation and terror. Yet still our huntsman strives to fend off the burgeoning dread. With a laugh, a brittle sound amidst the forest's lament, he chides his fraying courage, admonishing the tremors that dance along his spine. "Be still, my heart," quoth he, though the thicket of his bravado thins, beset by the thorns of unnamed fears. "Be thee not afeard of shadows and the prattle of leaves. Hold fast to the tangible, the known. Let not the fanciful take root and flourish." But hark! What is that? A shift in the ether, a sense of watchfulness that doth prick at the nape of his neck. Eyes, innumerable and unseen, weigh upon him. They observe, these hidden watchers, their gaze as real as the gun in his trembling hands, their attention a pressure that threatens to crush the sanity he holds so dear. As the murmurs swell, a symphony of secrets divulged to the uncaring night, our protagonist finds himself ensnared in a web more intricate than the most profound human intrigues. Each whispered revelation, each rustle of movement in the periphery, serves to entangle him further, a moth bound in silk, awaiting the spider's inexorable approach. Listeners, we stand upon the precipice, our hearts betwixt the realms of light and the abyss. The forest, once a haven, now looms as a jail, its bars wrought of whispers and watchfulness, its floor a mosaic of shadows and deceit. What path lies ahead for our solitary huntsman, this wanderer, in realms betwixt the earthly and the arcane? Stay thine departure, dear souls, for our journey through the veiled underbrush of mystery and murmurs is yet incomplete. Clasp mine hand, for together we must tread paths untrodden where the whispering leaves speak of destinies unclaimed and specters unseen. Kindred spirits, drawn to the glow of our tale's fire amidst the encroaching night, join me as we delve deeper into the heart of the forest dark, where the veil betwixt worlds grows thin and the departed oft tread. As the sun relinquishes the firmament to twilight's embrace, our protagonist, wearied by the forest's disquiet, seeks sanctuary within the time-worn walls of a cabin. This humble haven, familiar to his souls and soul alike, promises respite from the wood's whispers and the unseen eyes that lurk mongst the boughs. Yet pay heed, for the forest's bounds extend beyond the trees, its shadows stretching their fingers into even the homeliest of refuges. No sooner does our huntsman cross the threshold than he perceives a change, a heaviness in the air, a stillness that belies the safe harbor he seeks. The cabin, erst a bastion against the wilderness, now harbors a presence as ancient and unknowable as the forest itself. By the flickering hearth where once the fire's dance banished night and need, there stands a figure, both there and not, as though composed of moonbeams and mist. A woman, garbed in the vestiges of life long relinquished, her countenance a portrait of sorrow that transcends the confines of death. Her eyes, voids that promise both solace and oblivion, find his, and in that silent communion our huntsman knows her for what she is, a specter, a remnant, bound to the mortal plane by fetters unseen. Listeners, fancy, if you will, the chill that grips his heart, the terror that whispers sedition to his courage, urging it to flee. Yet rooted he remains, for amidst the fear there burgeons a fascination, a yearning to comprehend that which stands before him. This wraith, this echo of a life once lived, evokes within him a maelstrom of dread and empathy. Her visage, the very picture of despair, speaks to the sorrows buried within his own breast. She moves, and her motion is as the swaying of the willows, bound to the caprices of a breeze from some otherworldly vale. Unto him she drifts, her feet ne'er deigning to caress the floor. The air about her shimmers with the chill of the grave, and her passing stirs not dust nor the mortal trappings of the cabin. She is there, yet not a dweller on the thresholds of existence. And now, dear listeners, she speaks. Her voice, oh, her voice, is as the sighing of the wind through a burial ground, each syllable a requiem for days and loves and hopes departed. She tells of life, of death, of realms beyond the ken of mortal men. Her tale is a tapestry of joy and tragedy woven by the loom of fate and the thread of inevitability. Our huntsman, ensnared by her ethereal eloquence, beholds within her spectral mien a mirroring of his own solitude, his own longing for connections that transcend the boundaries of life and death. In her presence, the cabin itself seems to recede, becoming naught but the backdrop for a communion that defies the natural laws. But her tale draws to a close, and with it, the bond, fragile as gossamer, begins to fray. She beckons, her form less distinct now, the edges of her being blurring with the shadows. A plea lies within those deep, abyssal eyes, a plea for understanding, for release, for companionship in the eternal solitude of death. What say you, huntsman? Will you extend your hand, offer solace to one for whom the tolling of life's bell is but a memory? The decision, heavy with consequence, lies squarely upon his shoulders, even as the apparition begins to fade, her presence waning with the moon's nocturnal journey. Attend, for here we must pause, our hearts aflutter amidst the whispers and the waning light. The forest holds its breath, and even the stars above seem to watch with bated light. What path shall our huntsman choose as he stands betwixt the realms of light and shadow, life and death, reality and the ineffable beyond? Stay thee your departure, dear souls, for the tale is not yet spent. Hold fast to the thread of our narrative as we navigate the shadowed paths that lie before us. Dearest assembly of night-bound souls, we return to our tale cloaked in whispers and moonlit secrets, where a brave huntsman stands betwixt realms, his heart a tempest of dread and wonder. Behold our huntsman, his countenance a canvas of turmoil, as he stands afore the waning specter. His voice, once the herald of his solitary dominion over the wilds, trembles like a leaf adrift upon the capricious zephyr. Speak, he entreats, his words the very incarnation of his soul's discord. Reveal thine purpose, thou wandering spirit of yonder vale. The phantom, her form but a quivering candle flame in the vastness of night's dominion, regards him. In her visage grief and eternity are wed, and her silence is a mournful ode that transcends the spoken word. Yet compelled by his plea, born of desperation and a yearning for truths that mortals dare scarce comprehend, she finds voice. Listeners, lean thine ears to her reply, a sound akin to the last breaths of autumn, foretelling the deathly stillness of winter. I dwell in twilight, saith she, captive to the echoes of mine own tragedy, bound by sorrow, forsaken by the light. Hark, doth our huntsman recoil? Nay, for though his sinews are as taut strings of a harpsichord, and his blood ice in the labyrinth of his veins, he confronts his terror, a guardian at the gates of reason. With every ounce of fortitude that anchors him to the realm of the living, he parleys with the inhabitant of the spectral realm. His query, though it quivers upon his lips, is a bridge cast over the chasm of understanding. What dost thou seek from me, shade of twilight? The specter, her form an anthem of the ethereal, resonates with the pain of ages. A bearer of mine tale, she whispers, her words but the rustling of dry leaves on the path of memory, a kindred spirit to ken mine suffering, to echo it into the abyss of time. Ah, kindred spirits, perceive here the crux of our tale, for in this fragile exchange there is unveiled a mirror betwixt worlds, reflecting the shared plight of the living and the departed. Both are prisoners, he of doubt and she of her ceaseless vigil. They stand, two souls upon the precipice of the unknown, the silence twixt them brimming with unsung lamentations. Yet our huntsman, ensnared by the enigma before him, wrestles with the phantoms of his comprehension. Here stands he, a scholar of tangible trails and beastly bounties, now faced with the intangible, the unnatural, a dialogue with despair itself. His skepticism, a bastion hitherto unassailable, trembles beneath the weight of this otherworldly encounter. Each whispered word from the apparition's ethereal lips threads a needle of uncertainty through the tapestry of his beliefs. Can it be, he ponders, that yonder shade speaks true? That she is but an envoy of her own bygone tragedy, seeking solace in the sharing of her tale? The notion, so alien to his rational mind, is as a tempest, threatening to rend the sails of his understanding. The air grows denser, charged with the electricity of unseen storms. Our huntsman, poised on the fulcrum of fate, musters his resolve. "If 'tis a listener thou dost require," quoth he, with a boldness that belies the quiver of his soul, "then speak, and let mine ears be the vessel of thine eternal sorrow." The cabin, that solitary haven, becomes the crucible of their communion. Her tale unfolds, a sorrowful wraith weaving narratives of yesteryears, of love forsworn and life bereft of mercy. She speaks of graves unmarked by tear or tribute, of her spirit's exile to the shadowed borderlands of existence. And he, our valiant huntsman, becomes the custodian of her story, his empathy the dawn that challenges the dominion of her endless night. In his eyes she discerns the birth of understanding, a beacon that, though it cannot dispel her fate, illuminates her suffering. As her tale finds its melancholy close, the specter, lighter now, as though relieved of a burden long borne, bestows upon him a gratitude that needs not words. A faint glow pierces the shadow around her, the herald of a long-awaited reprieve. Attend, dear hearts, as we draw the veil over this chapter, leaving our huntsman in the echoing silence of the cabin, his thoughts a whirlwind of wonder and trepidation. What light hath this encounter cast upon his path, and whither will he tread henceforth, a man forever altered by communion with the beyond? Rest not, for the tale spins onward, and in the heart of the wilderness many a secret yet yearns for the kiss of revelation. And so, dear sojourners of the night, we traverse the unseen bridge from known to unknowable, following the wake of a tale that, like a river, knows not rest nor hesitance. In the quietude following the specter's revelations, our huntsman dwells within the eye of the storm, the echoes of the ghostly tale cascading through the caverns of his psyche. Behold him, solitary amidst the remnants of the twilight encounter, the air around him pregnant with the aftershocks of the unearthly communion. His visage, erstwhile a bastion of earthly certitudes, is now a manuscript whereupon the quill of the supernatural inscribes its indelible script. Within the silent sanctum of the cabin, time, that relentless sentinel, tarries in its march, as if to pay homage to the extraordinary congress that has thus taken place. Our protagonist, the vessel of a sorrow not his own, feels the stirrings of an emotion hitherto unfamiliar, a profound kinship with the plight of the disembodied soul, an empathy that tethers his spirit to the echoes of her ethereal lament. But what now? Shall he, the huntsman, the solitary wanderer of the woods, become the herald of the ghostly tale? Shall he, in whom the living and the dead have found a confluence, bear forth the message of the specter into the realm of mortal men? As the embers of the hearth cast a dance of shadows upon the walls, a resolve, steely and indomitable, forges itself within the crucible of his being. Yea, he shall emerge as the mouthpiece of the silent, the ambassador of the spectral realm, a bridge spanning the chasm twixt the living and the dead. Yet hark, for the wilderness, ever watchful, ever attuned to the melodies of those within its embrace, begins to hum a dirge of foreboding. The trees, those ancient sentinels, rustle their leafy manes as if to whisper caution into the winds. The path that lies ahead for our emboldened huntsman is fraught with the thorns of skepticism and the briars of mockery. Will the world of sunlit rationality lend an ear to tales of moonlit encounters? The cabin door, heavy with the weight of impending destiny, creaks upon its hinges as he steps forth, a man reborn beneath starry heaven's watchful gaze. Each footfall upon the forest's hallowed ground echoes like a solemn drum, heralding his passage into the annals of the extraordinary. But lo, the forest, a kingdom of inscrutable fancies, shrouds itself in a cloak of mist and moonlight, as if to shield its denizen from the harsh glare of the world beyond. Our huntsman, the torchbearer of a ghostly saga, ventures forth, the weight of his charge a solemn companion amidst the symphony of the nocturnal chorus. Fellow sojourners on this path of whispers and revelations, ponder the journey that beckons. What trials await our envoy of the ethereal as he steps forth into the light of day? Shall the world hearken to his tale, or shall he wander the shores of disbelief, a lone voice amidst the tumult? Stay thy departure, for the tale is far from sung, and the road meanders ever on through valleys of shadows and peaks of revelation. Keep thine heart steadfast and thine ears attuned to the whispers on the wind. In this, our final sojourn through the veiled recesses of the spectral realm, we find our huntsman lone and imperiled, grappling with the phantoms of doubt and trepidation. The cabin, once a sanctuary of solitude, now harbors the echoes of the unresolved, the air rife with the whispers of the departed spirit. His shadow cast long and forlorn by the quivering candlelight. His countenance, a canvas of torment, betrays the tempest, raging within, a maelstrom of questions with no port for respite. Was the apparition naught but a play of the shadows, an opus of the moonlight and the frailties of the human sense? Or was it verily the touch of the nether world, a communion with the essence beyond the veil? The reality of his encounter weighs heavy upon his soul, a burden he bears as Atlas the heavens. The stillness of the night offers no counsel, for the silence is a vast ocean, and he a mariner without chart or star to guide his course. And there, amidst the relics of his earthly existence, the rifle leaning forgotten against the hearth, the provisions for a venture now trivial in the face of the abyss, he wrestles with the most harrowing specter of all, the notion that his very sanity teeters upon the precipice. For what is a man, if bereft of his reason, a vessel unmoored, subject to the capricious gales of fancy and the tides of lunacy? Our huntsman, ensnared in this conundrum, finds himself a prisoner within his own mind, the bars forged of uncertainty and dread. Yet within the crucible of this dark night of the soul, there burgeons a glimmer, faint and tremulous as a heart newly roused from slumber. It is the ember of resolve, kindling amidst the ashes of turmoil and confusion. With a visage carved of newfound purpose, our protagonist turns towards the realm of the living, the world of flesh and bone and heart's blood. He shall bear forth his tale, though it rends the very fabric of his being, for the specter's lament must find voice within the annals of human ken. And thus, as the dawn's light creeps upon the horizon, a herald of truths yet unspoken, he steps forth, a solitary figure against the tapestry of the awakening morn. Our tale, though here finds pause, endures within the silent moments, in the whispers twixt the world of the living and the domain of shadows. Hold it close, for in the quietude, the echoes of the unresolved shall indeed find solace in thine own hearts. Shadow seekers, as we draw the shroud over this nocturnal narrative, let us together wander for a moment in the echoing halls of reflection. Our tale, though singular in its passage, speaks to the universal choir of souls, addressing in solemn hymn the enduring lament of the unexplainable which resides within us all. The huntsman in his solitude became as a mirror, reflecting back the contours of our own fears, our own yearnings, our own desperate queries pitched into the void. What indeed separates the observed from the observer, the haunter from the haunted? These are the ponderings that, like twilight, reside in neither the light of day nor the dominion of night, but rather in the ethereal in-between. Our journey through the shadowed woods serves not to resolve but to evoke, to stir the silt at the riverbed of consciousness, that we might glimpse our reflections therein, however fleeting, however disturbed by the ripples of uncertainty. Let us therefore not seek the solace of conclusion, for there are narratives that defy such comforts, specters of thought and feeling that drift, ever formless, through the corridors of our psyche. Embrace, instead, the grand tapestry of human experience, within which threads of solitude, of terror, of wonder, are interwoven with indelible care. As you retreat from the embrace of our gathering, bear with you the haunting melody of this night's tale. Let it resonate in the quiet moments, in the hush that falls when the embers die and darkness claims its dominion. Fare thee well, kindred spirits, until our paths converge once more beneath the moonlit sky in the realm where the veil thins and the whispers of yesteryears beckon us closer still. Dearest connoisseurs of the uncanny, as our time within this shadowed time wanes, I extend the deepest gratitude for lending your ears to these chilling chronicles. Should these tales stir within you a hunger for more, I entreat you to press subscribe, that you might be our constant companion along these darkened paths of narrative. Next time, anticipate even more tantalizing tales to prickle the nape of your neck and cause your heart to stutter with trepidation. For the world, my good friends, is a brimming cauldron of mysteries unseen and stories untold, ever more alluring in the velvet cloak of night. And thus, until our paths converge once more in this ever-expanding abyss of the eerie and the unexplained, I bid you an unsettling adieu. May whispers of the past keep you company until we meet again. Remember, when the night grows cold and the shadows dance, it gets just a bit more creepy. Farewell for now. Be wary, be watchful, and be ensnared by the enigma of the unknown.